Voice Your Vote coverage now. Wisconsin Democrats hosting a town hall in Green Bay discussing Project 2025, a conservative policy plan that has been dismissed by former President Trump. Congressman Mike Pocan and 8th Congressional District candidate Dr. Kristen Lyerly spoke on the controversial plan led by the conservative group, the Heritage Foundation. Trump has dismissed the plan despite several of his former advisors working on it. Lyerly, who is an OBGYN, says the outline in the plan to monitor women's pregnancies goes way too far.
But what we see here is pregnancy surveillance, knowing when people have their periods or had a miscarriage. Like, that's not normal.
Lyerly's opponent, Tony Weed, releasing this statement on Pocan's visit, saying in part, quote, Kristen Lyerly campaigning with a radical like Pocan who has called to defund the police and abolish ICE shows she's a far left Democrat who is completely out of step with Northeast Wisconsin voters, end quote.